Step back to an era when low-tech solutions, like today's sustainable home design trends, transformed daily living. Clever inventors crafted solutions to maximize space, beat the heat, and make kitchens efficient. These features added a touch of joy to everyday life, solving practical problems with creativity. Be sure to stick around for the last one because it bought you some time and privacy if you were not decent for unexpected guests. A sleeping nook. Do you want to enjoy the comforts of being outdoors while being lulled to sleep by crisp, fresh air and the sounds of country nights? Sleeping porches gained popularity in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, reaching their heyday in the 1920s and 1930s. Constructed as extensions of the main house, often wrapping around corners or spanning the width of the building, they were built as a practical response to hot summers without air conditioning. They were also used as a treatment for tuberculosis, TB. The concept of fresh air therapy was central to TB treatment at the time, and it was believed that exposure to cold, fresh air could help recover. However, the effectiveness of such treatments was doubtful. Typically, in a screened-in area of the porch or second floor of a home, sleeping porches were designed to provide a cool, breezy space for sleeping. They were usually equipped with beds or cot and could be outfitted with curtains or roll-down shades for privacy and to keep bugs away. The rise of air conditioning in the mid-20th century led to their decline. However, in southern states like Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, sleeping porches still exist in century-old homes and are still utilized as an alternative to relying on air conditioning.
So it's a great place to have a nap or even spend the night out on this sleeping porch.
Made in Indiana. Before we had kitchen islands and open-concept living, we had a dedicated room as a kitchen. The centerpiece of storage and meal prep was the Hoosier Cabinet. Introduced in the early 1900s, it quickly became a staple of American kitchens, reaching peak popularity in the 1920s. The name comes from the Hoosier Manufacturing Company of Newcastle, Indiana. Several companies produced similar cabinets, including Sellers, Napanee, and McDougall. It usually stood about 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide and combined storage, a work surface, and other organizational compartments. The lower section usually contained drawers and cabinets, while the upper section featured smaller compartments for dry goods storage. Many models included built-in flour sifters, spice racks, cookbook holders, and meal planners. Typically constructed of oak or another hardwood, often with a white enamel interior for easy cleaning, it centralized kitchen tasks, improved organization, and added much-needed storage and workspace. The rise of built-in kitchen cabinetry in the 1930s and after World War II led to its decline. While no longer common in modern kitchens, Hoosier cabinets can find new life as a must-have piece in vintage furniture collections today. Those who want the charm of a farmhouse in their kitchen can find a Hoosier-inspired cabinet from Amish furniture makers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
This is where they would have kept their flour, and they would have sifted as they got it out.
In living color. When humans lived in cave dwellings, we always wanted to paint and express ourselves on walls. Fast forward to the 20th century and each decade had its signature palette. The 1940s, patriotic colors. 1950s, pastel colors. 1960s, bright psychedelic colors. 1970s, earth tones. 1980s, jewel tones. And 1990s, beige and neutrals. Companies like Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, and Farrow & Ball significantly shaped home decor trends. Paint colors are used to set the mood of a space, complement furnishings, and express the inhabitant's personality. The composition of interior paints has evolved significantly over the years, from lead-based formulas, which were banned in 1978, paint chips, anyone? To modern water-based and low VOC options, volatile organic compounds, such as emitting harmful gases. Today, paint has advanced beyond adding color to walls. Both traditional paint companies and boutique brands have evolved to offer specialized finishes and curated color palettes. Influences such as energy efficiency, sustainable living, and interior decor trends drive these innovations. Exciting developments like smart paints that can absorb pollutants or regulate temperature have excited homeowners about designing with paint.
The big color this coming year is going to be a deep wine red. And the key thing with this particular color is that it's going to have a slight purpley undertone.
Waterbeds. Ever heard the saying, it ain't all about the size of the boat, it's about the motion in the ocean? Imagine floating off to dreamland on a bed full of water. Yep, that was the waterbed craze in the 70s, where sleeping on a giant water balloon was the coolest thing ever. These wavy beds weren't just about catching Z's. They were like having a mini ocean in your bedroom, making every night a beachy adventure. They were trying to compensate for something, if you ask us. You could imagine honeymoon suites all over the country were buying them up like hotcakes. If your grandparents or parents really wanted one, they got it. Filling them up was a workout, kind of like today's struggle with air mattresses, but way more fun, we suppose. You'd actually hook up a hose from your bathtub and drag it all the way into the bedroom just to fill up your waterbed. Can you imagine springing a leak?
Who thinks he's going to put the waterbed in his trailer?
Funky and functional. Funky room dividers saw their heyday in the 1960s and 1970s, coinciding with experimental design and open floor plans. Companies like Herman Miller and Knoll produced some high-end designer versions, while countless smaller manufacturers and DIY enthusiasts created their own interpretations. Dividers were used to create separate areas within an open space without the permanence of a wall. They came in various styles and materials, including wooden screens with geometric cutouts, macrame hanging dividers, modular shelving units, beaded curtains, and tension pole dividers with attached shelves or cabinets. The decline of funky room dividers began in the 1980s as many homeowners started to prefer more classic, less experimental interiors. Although many people still use room dividers today, especially enthusiasts seeking vintage originals, they are much less common than decades ago. Most people who live in loft spaces, studio apartments, and open-plan homes prefer to keep their living spaces opened and seek space-saving solutions.
It divides the space really well. It gives me tons of storage.
Inspired by nature? Have you ever stepped into a bathroom with such bold and loud colors that it made you question, what decade am I living in? The avocado green bathroom tub, a quintessential symbol of the 1970s interior design, was introduced in the late 1960s and reached popularity in the mid-1970s. There are several reasons why this fad took over an entire era. It reflected a more significant cultural shift away from the previous decade's dull and muted conservative colors. People embraced the free-spiritedness and experimentation of bold colors. Avocado green was a versatile color that could be paired with various bathroom decor styles and added a fresh and vibrant look that made them think of nature and the sea. Major brands like American Standard, Kohler, and Crane produced bathroom suites in this iconic shade. They are typically made of enameled cast iron or fiberglass. By the early 1980s, these colorful fixtures were already being viewed as dated. While avocado green tubs are no longer manufactured, many still exist in homes nationwide. Who knows? Your grandparents might still have an avocado green bathroom tub that is peak vintage interior design.
I think frugal means figuring out where to invest your money, so setting a priority. My priority is not to spend money on retiling the shower. It is not to replace the bathtub, which has nothing wrong with it.
An entrance with character. Have you ever gone to an open house and thought, this home is a boring white box with clean straight lines. There's nothing interesting about it. Chances are they didn't have any interesting architectural features like archways, which added a touch of elegance and lifted your mood, whether coming and going from the foyer or moving about between rooms. Archways have been used and refined by builders and designers throughout history, becoming a hallmark of architectural heritage in homes. They were popular in residential homes during the 1920s and 1930s, coinciding with the rise of revival styles such as Spanish colonial and Mediterranean. Archways can take various forms, from simple semicircular arches to more complex shapes like elliptical or pointed arches. They serve functional and aesthetic purposes, providing an open transition between spaces while adding interest to a home. Despite modern building techniques and the rise of model homes, archways are a great way to add a touch of uniqueness to a home.
So we decided to replace the whole drywall because it looked like this. Now done with drywall, and now I can move on to adding joint compound to all of the joints.
A touch of heaven on earth. Nothing said lifestyles of the rich and famous like the opening of fancy iron gates leading up to a mansion. These wrought iron gates, still a sought-after feature in luxury home estates, have a history spanning centuries and are still popular today with the affluent who want an elegant and secure grand entrance. Often custom-made by skilled blacksmiths and metalworkers, companies like Stewart Iron Works in Kentucky became known for producing high-quality ornamental ironwork on a large scale as industrial processes advanced. These gates range from simple designs with vertical bars and minimal ornamentation to elaborate creations featuring intricate scrollwork, floral patterns, and even figurative elements. The creation process is labor-intensive, traditionally involving heating iron until it is malleable and then shaping it through hammering and bending. Many homeowners appreciate their classic look and the sense of craftsmanship they bring to a property. However, many affluent homeowners today who value their privacy and security opt to have hidden driveways, hedges, and fencing.
Today we're getting these detailed out and ready to paint. It's a pretty simple process. Come on and I'll show you how we do it.
A spiritual experience. When light, glass, and craftsmanship create unique art pieces, ordinary spaces become vibrant. Stained glass windows have graced buildings for over a millennium, and they were found in churches and homes. They reached their peak of popularity in residential architecture during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly in the Victorian and Art Nouveau periods. Big names in the field were the Lewis Comfort Tiffany Company in America and Morrison Company in England, but countless local artisans also contributed to the widespread use of stained glass in homes. A typical stained glass window consists of small pieces of colored glass. Designs range from simple geometric patterns to elaborate pictorial scenes. The creation process is meticulous, involving drawing the design, cutting the glass, fitting pieces with lead cames, soldering joints, and weatherproofing. While their widespread use in residential architecture declined well after the 1920s, stained glass has experienced several revivals. Today, many homeowners incorporate stained glass windows and elements as accent pieces, or they become iconic features in historic home restoration projects.
And this glass is considerably older than glass in the rest of the panel.
Who's there? What do you do when you hear an unexpected knock on your door? Do you go and answer it, or do you pretend you're not home? Or perhaps you threaten them? The antique door with a peephole was a clever feature, subtly hinting at early home security. Introduced in the late 19th century, peepholes became popular during the early 20th century. Companies like Yale and P&F Corbin were among the first to incorporate this ingenious feature into their door design. These antique doors were typically crafted from solid wood and often adorned with intricate carvings and brass fixtures. The peephole was a small glass lens, usually set in a metal frame, that allowed residents to view visitors discreetly. It provided security and privacy, letting you decide your next move. As home security systems evolved and modern technology advanced, the humble peephole was gradually replaced by sophisticated smart home technology, such as Ring doorbells. Despite their decline in use, antique doors with peepholes remain a charming and nostalgic reminder of early home security innovations of the no-tech variety.
All you have to do is call for Chinese or pizza and wait by your peephole, and when the guy comes, you can test it.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, watch another one. Here are 12 forgotten objects from a 1950s living room.